Hi everyone, I'm Dave Giancola, joined again by Mike Trossel for another episode of The Road to Stardom. When you're trying to become the fourth player on a list that includes these three names, Jack Nicklaus, Phil Mickelson, and Tiger Woods, you can be sure you'll raise a lot of eyebrows along the way.
And Dave, in the 2004 U.S. Amateur at iconic Winged Foot Golf Club, that's exactly what Ryan Moore was doing. Having won the NCAA individual title earlier that spring, he was attempting to join that legendary trio as the only players to win both titles in the same year.
Well, Moore had a couple USGA trophies already, as well as a two-time U.S. Amateur Pub Links champion. While at Winged Foot, the 21-year-old was also going for his third USGA championship. Let's take a look at Ryan Moore's run in the 2004 U.S. Amateur.
ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, presents a national championship conducted by the United States Golf Association. Today, the semifinal matches of the 104th U.S. Amateur. And the oldest championship in the country has come to an historic championship-level golf course. Winged Foot Golf Club here in Mamaroneck, New York, about a half an hour from Manhattan. Just the name Winged Foot for golf fans conjures up images of some of the greats that this game has ever produced. 4 times it has hosted the U.S. Opens, and for the second time in its history, it plays host to the U.S. Amateur. It has already been a grueling week, 2 days of stroke play, 4 rounds of match play, and now we are down to the final 4. They'll try to make it to tomorrow's 36-hole final here at Winged Foot. And welcome once again, everybody. Terry Gannon along with Gary Koch. And Gary, you said it yesterday, it's good to be an amateur these days with the USGA events. You play some great golf courses and you make a short list around the world. Winged Foot has to be on it, and it's hard to imagine a more stern test for these amateurs.
Well, Terry, you're absolutely right. I mean, the U.S. Open is coming to this golf course in 2 years, in 2006. And right now, these amateurs are playing it set up very similarly to what the U.S. Open will be like in a couple of years. I think because of that, we're going to see pars win an awful lot of holes.
Take 18 pars and move to Sunday in the finals. Let's talk about the matchups. Ryan Moore came in as the favorite, the hottest amateur golfer in the country, no doubt about it. But Jeff Overton, a guy who was in that final group with Moore at the NCAA championships.
Well, it'll be interesting. On paper, you have to say Ryan Moore's the favorite. No question about it. With the performance that he's had this summer, and you see here, he was the medalist in this event, the last 2 medalists to go on and win the U.S. Amateur Championship. Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, a chance for Ryan Moore to add his name to that list, a very impressive list, obviously. Jeff Overton, on the other hand, goes to Indiana University, certainly not a golf powerhouse. He was telling me he learned to play the game on what he called dirt muni track in Indiana. So maybe not quite as polished as Ryan Moore, but certainly capable. Sometimes he tends to get a little wild off the tee.
The people from the Muni are calling right now to complain at this point. Right now, take a look at some early golf, and Ryan Moore was already 1 down when they came to the 4th hole. This for par against Jeff Overton.
A couple of early short misses for Ryan Moore, and perhaps a little case of nerves.
So he was 2 down. The 3rd shot at the par 5 5th.
A little sand wedge from just under 100 yards. There's nerves. That's a good way to settle him down.
Not bad. He would make birdie to get it back to 1 down. Overton then at the 6th hole, the 2nd shot at the par 4. Look at the rough.
This short par 4 that's somewhat drivable by these long collegiates. And you can see Ryan Moore had already played a very good 2nd shot. Jeff Overton says, take that.
Inside of Moore, some Moore had to make this. And that will calm your nerves, too.
Absolutely. Anything that builds confidence or momentum.
Final 4. It's been a grueling week already here at Winged Foot. Yes, the rough is up here. Started out 4 inches. It is much higher than that right now. But Moore and Overton all square through 8. Moore just won the 8th hole with a par. The barrier has been broken.
Well, I think it's a trend of things to come. No question about it, Terry, as these guys continue to hit the ball farther and farther.
What do you like?
Have these guys play long iron shots into a par 4 that's going to have to be over 500 yards.
There you have it. This is the West course, of course. There are 36 holes at Winged Foot, but this has been the site for 4 U.S. Opens. As the rain starts to fall, Steve Melvin.
It'll move.
Yeah, it is. And it's not what you'd call an aggravating rain, just starting to drop a little bit. Ryan Moore, 207 to the hole. Kind of a quirky swing, self-taught swing. Wants to drop the ball in from the left.
Snap well open.
kind of reroutes it on his downswing. And he's maybe overcooked this one as well.
It's a bad miss when your opponent's missed right as well, with the hole cut on the right-hand side of the green and a knob right there, which will be two very difficult third shots.
This is fast and tough to read. It loses its speed. It's going to fall left. Good 5, but I'm not sure it's going to be good enough.
Well, but importantly, though, it forces Overton to make his. Steve, we saw Overton yesterday miss a couple of short putts around about this part of the match where he seemed to get a little quick with his transition and kind of come up and out of the putt a little bit.
Is to win the hole. You got to believe Overton's a dangerous player today. He did not really have a short game yesterday, and that is his strength, but he still beat Andy Swoboda, who is a four-time winner of the club championship here at Winged Foot. Had a huge gallery with him yesterday, and now Overton taking the one-up lead over the favorite coming in, Ryan Moore. Ryan Moore on the tee at 10.
Well, this is 7 there. And this is a good line.
Shot, although it leaves a very quick putt coming down the hill and will swing quite a bit from his right to left. Moore with a quick putt.
In the hole.
He should come back to his left at the end.
Ryan Moore, his last 4 tournaments, you see 1-1-1-1. That's pretty good coming in.
Well, that's about as good as you can do. Yeah. That's exactly right. And after the NCAA championship, actually had to have minor surgery and had a cyst removed from his tailbone and spent 3 or 4 weeks not playing. Came right back though in the very first tournament back and won. So picked up the momentum right where he left off.
There you go. Solid.
Moore scores 3, Mr. Overton 4. The match is all square.
So you hear the call. Ryan Moore back to all square with Jeff Overton here at the famous 10th hole. Great par 3s at Winged Foot.
Yeah, had he been on the right-hand side, this shot would have been more playable.
Ball way back in your stance. Hopefully catch the ball cleanly. And he caught it a little too cleanly.
Just rubber the green.
Yeah, certainly not a good break.
To do with it.
Just a moment ago at 11, Ryan Moore for birdie.
By any stretch of the imagination, this is a tough 2-putt.
Off a high point on the green, coming back down the hill. Beautifully done.
That is a heck of an effort. Back at the par 5 12th, third shot for Ryan Moore.
I've got him at about 95 yards.
Too far.
Tough hole location here today, Steve.
It really is right on the top of the shelf.
About 2 paces over it, and that is pretty nicely done.
Got it to the top shelf. See the wind picking up a little bit, the flag blowing. Well, Ryan Moore not only working on the guns there, showing them off today, the old Jim McMahon look, but coming in really over the past couple of months, working on the mental aspect of golf, not just the physical aspect.
You know, sometimes you start struggling a little bit and you stop enjoying it, and pretty much it's just going out there and enjoying the struggle sometimes, and enjoying when you're playing good. And if you see me on the golf course now, I'm nothing but smiles, all the way around, and that's just helped me a ton. It helps to not waste energy out there, not to get too frustrated with yourself, and I'm just enjoying myself. So
Here's Moore for birdie to win the hole.
Break early to the left.
Try to come back right, Steve.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a good putt. You see that a lot here, Terry, because of the all the
12
movement
hole
in the
with
greens, a
half
lot
with
of
a score
double
of 5.
breaking
The match
putts,
is
even
all
on
square.
one there of only 15, 18 feet. All right, here's a good look at Ryan Moore's kind of self-made swing. His dad has been his only coach. Very strong grip, open stance, ball way back. Gets the club moving inside early and then kind of loops back around.
It's a great line for Carey. No. All right, got a good bounce.
Yeah, I sure did, Steve. That's not all bad at all.
Coming all the way back.
And
It's going to funnel back.
that could.
It's coming all the way.
Oh, that solves that.
Just a little wry smile and not much motion at all.
15th hole.
He doesn't show much
Moore
emotion
scores
one way or
2.
the other. We've
Mr.
seen that throughout the
Overton,
week,
3.
Terry.
Mr.
And
Moore
as
is
he
now
said,
1 up.
most-
Here's Moore on the tee at 14.
Reed's pretty good at his back. This down the left-hand side.
265 yards to carry that bunker, and
Yes, sir.
not an issue.
That is solid and long.
Hit it.
Well, he read it well, Steve. Just didn't quite hit it firmly enough, but good putt.
Got to think that 4 may be good enough.
That was left all the way.
The 14th hole, Mr. Moore scores 4. Mr. Overton 5. Mr. Moore is now 2 up.
The putter has deserted him.
Well, we saw it a little bit yesterday. He was struggling on that length putt. We saw him miss a couple of them, and you got to hand it to Ryan Moore.
Gotta go. Go! One huge bounce.
One huge bounce.
Left it under the hole.
Never found.
Will it stay? Oh, yes, barely.
Yeah, looks like it. Another tough hole location here today, sitting one pace over a little ridge that comes into the green, right side.
At 16, here's Ryan Moore, second shot at the par 4.
Really thick lie. I don't think there's any way he can get it to the green.
Steve, that's some of the thickest rough I've seen on the golf course there at 16. That is really nicely done.
And really lucky.
Yeah.
Didn't find that bunker.
Just to the edge and back in front of the green.
I need to bounce it on the green, or if he flies it on the green, better really spin it. Yeah, it's kind of an in-between spot. Not a bad play. Kept it under the hole.
Big.
Yeah. All right.
Here's a look at that new attitude he's trying to display. You see, even though the shot not that great, little wry smile, and he's trying to say, okay, you know what, forget that one, and let's move on to the next one.
That close.
Wow, Overton made the step to make the congratulatory handshake and then backed off.
Put that hat back on.
The second life.
Moore remains 2 up. Storming.
Here's Moore. 2 putts to win his match and get to the finals.
As you watch him play, you begin to understand why he's a #1 right player. Okay. Solid in all aspects of his game. When he got 2 down early in his match, he never flinched.
This is a quick putt. It'll move to his right. It goes down the hill. And he's judged it nicely.
I think Jeff looked at it as though maybe I ought to give it to him. He said, well, let me putt this one.
You never know.
Regardless of the outcome here, Overton has really had a good week here, Gary. I mean, he's really acquitted himself nicely.
Yeah, I think he's got to be very pleased, Steve. I mean, you look at his resume, it's good, no question about it. Jerry mentioned the runner-up in the Porter Cup. He's won the Indiana Amateur the last couple of years, and the North-South final a couple of years ago. And he's a very good player, but this is by far the best he's ever performed at this level.
And he'll take a lot of confidence away from this event that will serve him well.
Putt to win the match.
He's got the hat off again, and I think this time it may be appropriate.
Shouldn't go back on, no. Ryan Moore to the finals. Moore was down 2 after the first 4 holes, but kept his composure, and he gets the 2-1 victory over Jeff Overton here in the semifinals.
Ryan, it's been a fabulous week of golf for you, from the medalist of the 36-hole qualifier to now reaching the finals. This is what you hoped for when the week began?
Well, yeah, you know, that's all I can hope for. You know, you try and get as far as you can. It's a real endurance test out here, and fortunately, I'm still going.
What is it about your game all summer long that's been so solid that's let you do what you've done?
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit of everything. You know, I'm hitting in the fairways a lot more greens in regulation. That makes it a lot easier on yourself. You know, I don't get worn down hitting in the rough all day, and you know, my putter's been pretty solid this summer, and just got to keep it rolling for tomorrow.
And by your own admission, you said you're not as tough on yourself now as you once were?
No, not at all. I go out there and I just have fun. So it's a game, right? So that's all it is to me.
Well, good luck in the finals tomorrow.
Thank you.
Under sunny skies here at Wingfoot Golf Club in Mamaroneck, New York, the championship match of the 104th U.S. Amateur Championship is underway. After 2 rounds of stroke play, 5 rounds of match play, we are down to the final 2. The 21-year-old from Puyallup, Washington, Ryan Moore, the favorite here, taking on the 19-year-old from Ringgold, Georgia, Luke List, who is trying to pull off a major upset. Terry Gannon, along with Gary Koch, David B. Fay, the executive director of the USGA, is with us, and Roger Maltby is out walking the course as the players are on the tee at number 13.
228 yards today. I can't play any longer than this. Another solid shot.
Yep, hole is cut way in the very back portion of the green, up on a little shelf, and that is nicely done. Roger leaves an uphill putt.
His golf has really been steady to this point, Gary. He's really outplayed Ryan Moore, which I think would really surprise most people.
Well, you almost have to wonder, with all the upsets that he's pulled coming into this finals, that never expected to get this far. He admitted that perhaps he's out today thinking I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. He's already going to get to play in the U.S. Open next year. He's going to get to play in the Masters next year. So, you know, playing extremely well.
And Ryan Moore, who has already won the NCAA Championship this year, the Western Amateur, the U.S. Amateur Public Links, the Holly Players Championship, one of the great amateur years we can remember, and trying to cap it off with the most important of them all, the U.S. Amateur Championship here at Wingfoot. But 3 down here in the first 18, the final, a 36-hole match.
3 here.
Sit soft.
Boy, this just a bullet going at the very left side of the green. A flat hit there. Okay.
Turns out fine, yeah.
That all right.
Only 1 birdie between the 2 players here through 12, but they're both safely on the green at 13. Rain early in the week on Monday, and play was not suspended. It was close to being suspended. Rain yesterday during the semifinals, in the second semifinal match. Of course, a 3-hour and 20-minute weather delay before being resumed.
Moore first to putt up the slope.
See if that will be conceded. And it is. Got a chance to become, well, be a part of history in a number of different ways, Gary.
Yeah, just the 5th player to win 2 USGA championships in the same year, and pretty impressive list there. Well, the intricacies of match play, Roger. We see Ryan Moore's road to the final. He was the medalist. Only man to shoot under par for the 36 holes of stroke play.
180 yards to the hole, Jake. That's such ball turned left to the hole.
Well, safely on.
I don't think we'll be as quick at all.
There we go. So Ryan Moore cuts into the lead, now just 2 down.
Mr. Moore 3, Mr. List 4. Mr. List is 2 up.
So Roger talked about the putting woes through the first 9. Putter not as sharp as it has been, but certainly on that putt, nothing wrong with that. He gets back to 2 down through 14. Well, we got to know Luke List a little bit better just a moment ago. Now the 21-year-old senior from UNLV, Ryan Moore, in his own words.
I got my start in golf from my father. I first beat my dad playing golf when I was probably about 13, I would say. I don't remember the exact moment. That's where I was shooting, or I was capable of shooting around par. Actually, I think it was probably the first time I ever shot under par was when I was about 13. So I think that's when I got him. My favorite golf course I've ever played is probably Augusta. It was amazing, just the experience I had. I've already got to play the Masters once and just had an amazing experience. Got to play with Arnold Palmer for 2 of the rounds, and that was just the greatest experience and probably the greatest course I've ever played. The crowd's reaction to Palmer was just was incredible. I mean, a standing ovation, every tee box, every green, and just walking up the 18th hole with him that second round was just it was chilling. My favorite kind of food is probably Italian, which it's great around here. There's a lot of good Italian places, so I've been having some great food all week, and it's been awesome. The best round of golf I've ever played was probably the final round at the Public Links in 2002. My first 18 holes, I was 9 under. I think I had 10 birdies in that round, and I think I had the guys playing 6 down after 9 holes, but I came out firing, and that was probably my best round in a tournament.
Right up the valley, not a lot of break. How about this?
So now the pressure on Moore. Talked to him earlier in the week about the difference between stroke play and match play.
I don't really pay attention to what he's doing, and I feel like sometimes in match play, or the times I haven't played well in match play, I've gotten too wrapped up in what he is doing, and to rise and fall emotionally with if he's making or missing it. So this whole year, I honestly haven't even seen a single person I've been playing. I haven't even seen a shot of theirs. I mean, I'll watch it and pay attention, see what it does after, but I don't watch them swing. I don't watch them hit their putt. It's just something I once again, I just go out there, I control myself, I do what I can do. Hopefully that's enough at the end of the day, and I don't try to get too wrapped up in what he's doing.
Now to have the hole won't come that much. So it's pretty amazing that he does not watch his opponent throughout the week.
Well, it's probably a fairly good philosophy. He said he does watch the end of the stride, and that one right there, he didn't have to watch. He could tell by the galler's reaction what happened there.
Just listen. So List gets another one. The birdie here at 15. He goes 3 up on Ryan Moore, trying to pull off the upset here in the championship match.
Tough little shot. Oh, that's really very, very, very good.
Now let's take a look at the motion again. He'll have the club face open. Notice the hands ahead, the shaft leaning toward the hole. And when he comes back to make contact, that same angle will be retained. Not worrying much about the follow through. You're not going to get the club through that grass, but you've got to have some acceleration. And that's what Ryan Moore needs here, Roger.
He does not go at all, and that much green to work with.
Great shot. Hit the pin.
That is really as good as he could play it, and that ball's going to scoot maybe off the green. Yeah. He just didn't have anything to play at the hole.
Moore trying to become the first player to win those 2 titles in the same year. His demeanor has been very good throughout the week. He talked to us earlier in the week about how he's tried to really work on the mental approach and smiling out there, taking it all in stride.
Well, his father Mike was saying that he really has his mother's personality and temperament, that she's very calm and very laid back, and that when he watches his son Ryan play, that's what he sees. Never good, though, Roger, when you're the same man to play the 2 consecutive shots.
That's right. The 3 worst words in golf, right?
You're
You're
right.
still away. Yeah, this now from about just about 30 feet uphill. Should move a little bit to his left.
There's his dad, Mike. If he has many more of these shots, he'll have his demeanor by the end of the day, not his mother's.
See what happens.
Especially after the way he won yesterday, getting new life. His match cleans some 5 hours after Moore's.
Right 4. Well judged.
Nice recovery leads to winning the hole. So he will move 4 up.
71 to the hole, needs to hit a good iron shot now. This ball starting from the left side of the green and moving a little bit left, not cutting.
Now another pulled iron. He gets away with this one. Came back to win that as well. That's carrying a lot of speed.
Yeah, it is. That was hit too hard. It really was. It's not all that bad. I don't think it's anything that's going to be conceded.
So a good look there of Ryan Moore with his head down, not watching, just as he said in his soundbite earlier. Doesn't pay any attention. Doesn't want to see the stroke. Doesn't want to see the swing of his opponent.
If it's a similar line, I can guarantee he's looking. He's not going to have his head down.
Well,
just to win the hole.
This will make lunch taste a little better, that's for sure.
Something good to take away here at 18 for Ryan Moore. Hasn't been the best of 18s for him. However, he gets one back here. Now it's the 19-year-old Luke List, who is 3 up over Moore, heading to the clubhouse. After Luke List won the opening 18, 3 up, and they have played the first hole of the afternoon 18, and List winning that one with a par. He is now 4 up. Both players about to hit their second shot here at the second hole. Maltby is out there.
Both players virtually have the same yardage, 187 yards to the hole, which is in the very back right portion of the green. Wind has switched from this morning's wind, now coming from the south and helping the players here at the second. Nice shot right at the hole, blowing up the center of the green.
and well played underneath the hole. Leaves a very makeable birdie putt.
There's more now.
Break from right to left, a little uphill.
Excellent effort.
So List still alive here on 2. That putt will be conceded. And Moore in with a par.
Nice putt of List now. I believe has much break. I might try to go a little bit left, but not a lot of break in it.
Roger, I always felt putting into the shadows like that made the putt that much more difficult. Just that much harder to pick up the slope in the green.
I would agree with that. That would be probably the most difficult part of this putt. Again, I don't think he played a particularly wonderful pitch, but the good news is he did leave it underneath the hole, so the place he should be aggressive from here. ball went right.
Yeah, I think he was fooled there by the shake of his head, and when he stepped back to take a look at it, I don't think he saw that ball going right at all.
Mr. List is 3 up.
Well, good news is the wind is helping him now. And I believe that was a 4-iron. Starts right. It is drawing. Beautiful shot.
Very nicely done, and a little different shot shape from Ryan Moore. We saw him play, or attempt to play, mainly fades in the morning 18, so perhaps he's figured a little something out at the lunch break.
Looks to me like it may want to go a little bit to the left, but that shoulder may hold it from doing so.
He got that started left all the way, looking for it to break to the right, but it was well off the hole as soon as he hit it.
It gave that shoulder off the left side, gave it an awkward look.
Mentioned the year that he has put together, and how about the career? Tiger Woods with 6 amateur championships, not the U.S. amateur, 3 junior championships included in that, but Ryan Moore, a couple of wins at the Amateur Public Links Championship. And with a win today, this would be his 3rd USGA win.
Putting out of this little low up to the hole location, not playing enough break. Kind of say, man, did that break.
And greens have kind of baffled him a bit today.
Yes, they certainly can. And also, you know, as you mentioned, with the sand being a little bit wet, and you can certainly see that from our overhead shot there, the darker color, that's where the sand is wet. It becomes a little bit of a guess how quickly the club will go through that sand and how quickly the ball will come out of it, out of the bunker.
You see how quickly that checked up? Had to fly that most of the way to the hole. Putt there, you bet.
Big time putt for Ryan Moore.
And he's so excited about it, too.
That one stays on.
Oh, and actually trying to get a little bit better. It's creeping back down the slope. And just make it into the sunlight. Oh, man, what a good putt.
Gary, you and Roger actually agreed on something at the lunch break?
That happens every now and then.
That is the major upset of the day.
But only after lunch, never before lunch.
You know, Roger, you start to feel for Luke List here a little bit. He just seems to be making this so hard on himself. It seems like hole after hole he's got one of these 4, 5, 6 footers for par. Just no matter how good a putter you are in greens of this type, sooner or later you're going to miss one.
Again, I just think putting around the hole at Winged Foot is as difficult as anywhere. This is a putt that has break to the right, and it's not an easy little putt.
There you have it. Missing to the right. He's missed the last couple to the right.
Well, there's one of those match play mental errors that I would say has plagued Luke List in some of his matches this week. He's been able to recover most of the time, but against a player Brian Moore's caliber, don't give him the opportunities.
Progression of shots throughout a singular hole. You go back to the tee, going off with the 3-wood, the awkward yardage. Now, List just 2 up over Ryan Moore. As we said, U.S. Amateur Public Links trying to win 2 USGA events in the same year.
It's a very short list, isn't it? For as many years as USGA events have been played, only 4 people have done it. How about Moore's shot, Roger?
Nasty little shot here, Gary. Steeply uphill. If he chunks it a little bit, it can come right back off the green. Got the club accelerating through it, but he's going to be left with a very difficult little 5.5 footer.
clutch putt. So he's hanging in there.
Large gallery this afternoon
The hole
here
is
at
halved at
Wingfoot.
fours. Mr. List is 2 up.
And it includes Ryan Moore's father, Mike, who is also basically his coach. He's worked with him throughout his career. So Luke List 2 up on Ryan Moore through 27 holes.
Today this hole measuring 186 yards. Breeze what there is of it, left to right, maybe hurting slightly. Green there, the whole set about halfway deep into the green on the very left-hand side. Obviously on this left, no good at all. Got to keep this ball right of the hole. Old draw toward the center of the green.
Interesting, Terry, we're seeing Ryan Moore change his shot shape pattern a little bit. He continued to try to play left to right shots with his irons in the morning 18. You must pay attention to what your opponent has done. First putt up the hill, should turn a little left. Oh, man. Another good effort. Good putts there by both List and Moore.
But nothing changes here at 10.
All right, Ryan Moore, second shot, Roger.
131 yards left of the hole off a bit of a downslope.
Good shot.
Skip up right at the hole at the center of the green. I think he got that a little bit heavy.
It's
Gets up
fine,
on the front,
though. Yep, it's underneath the hole.
List played his 5th shot.
Very little green to work with. And a beautiful shot, but he would go on to concede the hole, and Ryan Moore now just 1 down.
So the double bogey for Luke List, and first one of the day that we have seen. So through 29 holes here in the championship match at Winged Foot, things have gotten a lot tighter. List only 1 up over Ryan Moore.
Most of his irons in a pretty low trajectory, so I would think playing the skip-up shot would be a comfortable shot for him.
Well, and especially with his opponent already over there in the left bunker, and knowing he's going to have a very difficult up and down par, sure seems like this would be the safest shot. Roger, trying to land something, say 20, 30 feet short of the hole, put it way back in your stance and just kind of chop down on it. Looks like what he may be trying to do. That ball well back in his stance.
Keep it short of the hole. Do not knock it over. This ball low, trying to chase it back.
That's okay.
Catch that slope. I think it's probably going to come back a little bit.
Yeah, but it's not going to come back as much had he tried to hit a high shot and had a lot of spin on it.
Exactly right.
So a very well executed, well thought out shot, and I think maybe we're starting to see some of that veteran match play experience from Ryan Moore. How about this? What a great shot.
Just like you're supposed to do it.
That'll calm the nerves a little bit and allow you to breathe a sigh of relief.
Typical par. Just a routine par for Mr. List. However, Moore does have an opportunity to win the hole. He's got a birdie chance coming up. Look at that sand, though, in the bunker. It's amazing that the sand even stays up there. It's on the
Right,
side.
and there are some instances here at Wingfoot where they use some materials to try to help maintain that sand up in the faces of these bunkers. Eric Graytock and his staff here, the superintendent, do a wonderful job of the maintenance of these golf courses. I promise you, when you have faces of bunkers that steep, it can become a real maintenance nightmare.
See many changes for 2006, the U.S. Open?
I can't imagine that they would change a whole lot. I think maybe a couple of greens might need a little bit of work done on them. There's some of the slopes maybe a little bit too severe if you're going to have the greens running at 12 plus on the stent meter, which is kind of what they would like to have at a U.S. Open.
And Gary, it sounds like from my talks with Walter Darby, they may lengthen the tees at 15 and 16.
Oh, glad we're not going to be playing, Roger.
Correct. It's uphill moving left.
Oh, he has hammered that.
Well, you know, you wonder. I was thinking about that, Gary, as we were coming up here. he's got to be thinking that, hey, I'm going to square the match and, you know, brand new ball game coming in. All of a sudden, a great shot from List, and now, well, okay, I'm going to try to jam it in anyway. You know?
Now Roger in danger of going 2 down.
This could be a huge turnaround. Confidence-wise for Luke List. One more, though. He'll take his time. He's a veteran at this. He's been around. This isn't his first rodeo at match play.
That's for sure. But, you know, I would have to think, should he miss this putt? It may be real hard to come back and win this match.
Number 5, the putt. We showed you the highlight earlier today. Even longer than this one. It was a birdie opportunity, but List was already in with a birdie at the par 5 5th hole, and Moore made the putt right on top of him. And that was a key putt early in this match.
This one down the hill, moving a little right, Roger?
Yes.
Very easy to miss to the right, this type of putt for the right-hander. That's a good stroke. What a solid putt.
Hole is down to 5. The List has went up.
So they have the hole and move on. It is still Luke List trying to pull off the upset. He's 1 up.
See Moore's very open stance there. Good look there. Look how far back the left foot is pulled.
Stiff it. Go in the hole. Low, boring shot, fading just right in the hole.
Well, doesn't carry pretty remarkable this day and age. Could this go in? Oh, what a great putt.
Trip Keeney, who he beat 2-1. Danny Green, the veteran, 3-2.
Birdie here, and a chance to go back to 2 up. That's the most determined look I've seen on his face all week long, right there.
Well, you're getting a lot of different looks from him. The look of frustration a minute ago, and now the determined look. So he is 2 up. He's got the 2 up look right now, is what he's got through 31. No matter what you think of his demeanor, and that is a surprise as they head to 14.
Well, another one of the long, difficult par 4s here at Wingfoot West. 460 yards. They call it Shamrock, and dogleg slightly to the left around this Shamrock-shaped bunker. About 265 yards to carry that. Do that, put the ball in the fairway. You'll have a middle iron left to another perched green. So typical here at Wingfoot. Very deep bunker guarding the front left portion of the putting surface. Hole today is cut pretty much in the front center portion of the green, and I guess if I were going to call it, I'd say it's the easiest hole location probably that we've seen on this hole all week. Not that it's easy, it's just the easiest one we've seen.
Relatively speaking.
Right.
So 5 to play, and it's Luke List who is 2 up. His grandfather taught him the game when he moved from Seattle down to Georgia. Sophomore at Vanderbilt. Here he is trying to win the U.S. Amateurs. A number of people in the gallery watching him and cheering for him today. His dad is here with him on the course, but his 2 uncles are here in the gallery. Also some cheerleaders from his high school, Baylor High School in Chattanooga, which is where he attended, right across the border from Ringgold, Georgia.
You see a very different story than what had happened in the morning. He's lost more holes than won. Going with that trusty 3-wood, Roger.
Well, he hits it the perfect shape for this hole, usually over right to left.
The left.
Ball starts up the right side. Good shape.
Nicely done.
Kind of a low bullet that time.
Yeah, well, that's okay. It went straight. That's right about now. Fairways, greens, make pars. Force Ryan Moore to have to make some birdies. He just has not made many. He's only made 2 in this whole match.
And Moore's been carrying that bunker with the driver every time here at 14.
Most of the players I've seen that try to carry it across this bunker miss the fairway left. You can only go across the very right edge of this bunker. If you you get it pulled more than that, you're going to catch the left rough.
Well, picked up the tee very quickly. I've got to think that's a good one.
Just down the left side, just skirts past that bunker. It's in good shape now.
Picked up the tee and walked away. He didn't make it by that much. It landed in that rough and kicked out, but I guess he knew what he was doing. So it is safely in the fairway and a bit of an advantage here for Ryan Moore, but List also in the fairway, and he's got a bounce in his step. He's 2 up. Luke List 2 up through 31 holes today over the favorite, Ryan Moore. Both players looking at their second shots here at 14. 15, the par 4. List well in back of Moore, but Moore barely carried it over the bunker, through the rough, and into the fairway. And the cheerleaders from Baylor High School, Chattanooga, all watching Luke List.
Are we in his way?
Well, Gary, I would have to think that this tee shot was mishit. He's left himself 201 to the hole, 40 yards back of his opponent. So this a little longer club than I think he would normally want to have coming in here. That's a 5-iron.
Come in. Come in.
This will start right.
Just the tree, Roger, and kicks a little farther right.
Big opening.
Well, loose iron shots that seem to plague him the most. You know, and if you're Ryan Moore right now, you just got to go, man, he keeps giving me these chances, you know, and you just have that gut feeling that a player of his caliber, and just eventually you keep giving him these opportunities, he's going to take advantage of it sooner or later.
He's too good a player not to take advantage of missing the advantage all day. I mean, he's been given plenty of opportunities, like you say, and you just can't pass him up forever.
See
it's
that
now
graphic?
160 yards.
Graphic that he has an opportunity to become the first male to win both the U.S. Amateur Public Links Championship and the U.S. Amateur in the same year.
Senator. Ball starts left of the hole, holding his line there at the left side of the green.
All right, safely aboard.
You've got one if you want it.
Unique swing. Certainly not what you would expect from a college player, as so many of the college players nowadays we see with what I would call technically correct swings. Certainly much more unique, and you know, as we've talked about, his dad is only coach.
It may be a sign of that, the fact that his father
question.
has been the #1 source of influence during his career, because many people would try to change.
Well, and I think when Ryan first went to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, his dad and Ryan went to a teaching professional in the area, a gentleman by the name of Jay Davis, who's now the head professional down at Matitaconk in New Jersey. And his father said, take a look at Ryan and see what you think. And Jay actually gave him some very good advice. He goes, you know what? It's not the prettiest swing I've ever seen, but he strikes the ball very solidly, and he seems to know what he's doing with that swing. And, you know, therefore, why mess with it? Let's let him play some college golf and see if he has some problems. If he does, then, yeah, bring him back, and maybe we'll try to make some minor adjustments to it. But certainly has never needed to do that.
Definitely served him well throughout his amateur career, and compare that to Tiger Woods in USGA amateur events, and Tiger, of course, with the 6 wins, and not a bad record, 42-3, yeah. But Ryan Moore, 27-4, very, very good record.
Well, we talk about the length of this golf course and the difficulty of the approach shots into the greens, and you know, I think Tillinghast was trying to expose that amongst players. His philosophy was that, you know, a good solid iron shot into a closely guarded green, which many of them are here with these deep bunkers, was really the truest test of any man's game. And you know, we've seen these guys struggle a little bit with the iron shots into the greens.
The greens themselves, very difficult, but not the speed that you might see every week on the PGA Tour, for example, because you don't want them any quicker than they are. 11.5, 11.6.
Well, with all the slope in the greens and undulations, yeah, it'd be a nightmare if you tried to play these at about 13 on the step meter.
Here's List.
Tough little shot, uphill slope, which helps. Not much green to work with. And that is fabulous. Wow. Great big swing. Beautiful touch.
Just a walk in the park for the 19-year-old. Calmly walking up, and talked about Moore not showing a whole lot of emotion. And Luke List has been very poised throughout the entire week. Might be churning inside, but not showing it on the outside.
I can bet you that there's some churning going on the inside.
Takes a lot of nerve to play that shot, though, at this point in the festivities, don't you think?
Absolutely. To make that big a swing like that. Let's take another look at it. You described it beautifully. Down in the deep grass. Look at this. I mean, gets the club up 3/4 position, swings up the slope. Ball was very deep in the grass. Notice how he had positioned his body with the weight so he could swing up the slope. That is a very important lesson for the folks at home. Anytime you got a shot around the greens and it's on an upslope or a downslope, always try to get your weight moving to where it allows you to swing with the slope. There he had his weight back on his right foot so he could swing the club up the slope. If it had been the reverse, more of a downslope, he'd have put the weight on the lead foot, the left foot, to allow him to swing down the slope.
This putt is from well over 25 feet downhill. Unbelievable. A little bit from right to left in the middle of the putt, maybe straighten up around the center or around the hole.
This is where he made a good birdie putt in the morning round. So maybe he's got a good feeling about this hole.
There it goes,
there it goes. Yeah, sure did, Roger. Good call. Another one of those double breaking putts that you see so often here at Wingfoot. So his par 4 conceded. And List with a short one left, Roger.
Almost surprised this isn't conceded. Can't do much from here. Certainly left center putted most.
You were 2 down at this point. Would you make him putt it?
Yeah, I probably would.
Just checking.
Taking a long look at what is not a lengthy putt. List, not the putt, but the third shot from the rough, and getting it awfully close. A terrific save for List, and he is still 2 up, and now there are 4 holes left. So Moore starting to run out of holes here and trying to win this championship.
And we take a look at the 15th, a 416-yard par 4 fairway bunker down the right-hand side. Really not an issue. Players drive over a little ridge right about here. They'll hit less than driver, about 300 plus yards to the end of the fairway. Second shot slightly back uphill to a typical green here at Wingfoot, up in the air, very deep bunkers right and left. And this 15th green has as much undulation and humps and bumps as just about any green on the entire golf course.
So, Gary, you talk about making par and moving on at Wingfoot. It's such a tough golf course. But if you are Ryan Moore now, everyone has waited for List to fade. You maybe think, well, it's not going to happen now.
Yeah, and this really, is a good birdie opportunity. If you put the ball in play off the tee here, you'll be left with a short iron approach shot to the green. So certainly, I would say an opportunity for Ryan Moore with a good tee shot to perhaps make a birdie. But, yeah, I mean, again,
not that you're not always trying to, but
sure.
you're not going after flag sticks.
Right. Well, now he's getting to the time now, 2 down with just 4 to play, that he's got to be thinking about trying to make some birdies. He's only made 2 birdies the entire match, which is very, very surprising.
Roger, been much conversation at all between these two today?
Not that I've detected. No, there's been very little conversation. Both have had a great deal of conversation with their respective caddies. But other than the pleasantries of you're away or nice shot, that's about it.
Ryan Moore's caddy there is Kirk Brown, who is his roommate at UNLV. And, of course, Luke List's caddy is his father, Mark. Interesting, in previous matches, he's hit iron off this tee, and he's got it again. Now, I'm assuming this is probably the same long iron that he hooked out of bounds at number 11, and yes, there is out of bounds down the left-hand side of this hole.
There's no problems here. First down the right, draws to the center.
Yeah, very nicely done. That'll trickle down the hill a little bit, probably leaving a bit of an awkward lie downhill and ball a little bit above his feet, but that's what he needs to do in the fairway on the green.
Now Moore, who made the cut in the 2003 Masters, played a couple of rounds, as we heard from him earlier, with Arnold Palmer, who gave him some advice. He said, stay in college as long as you can and enjoy these 4 years.
Well, Ryan Moore will have an opportunity to do a lot of things that most amateur golfers will not. Play in the Masters, play in the Open.
This ball drawing left, but it should stay in the fairway.
Yeah, it's going to chase down the extreme left-hand side, Roger, and just get into the intermediate cut, but I don't think it'll be any problem at all.
And so the two finalists here play 15 through 32 holes so far today. Luke List 2 up over Moore. Back to Wingfoot in just a moment. Back high above Wingfoot Golf Club. A look at, anyways, high above. Just a great area for golf. I mean, you talk about the golf courses in this area. Westchester Country Club just a few miles away. Quaker Ridge right down the street, right back really of this great course. Fenway, as you mentioned, all through this area, all the way up through Connecticut. Stanwich Club up in Connecticut, not far away from here.
Great property for golf, too, Terry. You know, just enough movement to the land to give the holes character, but not so much that it distorts the golf, too much elevation change.
Yeah, there's Westchester Country Club, the clubhouse there. Your classic PGA Tour held there. Just a stone's throw from Wingfoot. And you're not going to find a better day than today in this area to play golf or watch golf. And here we are closing in on the finish of the 104th U.S. Amateur. Luke List, the youngster, has the 2-up lead over Ryan Moore here at 15.
Well, he's left himself 170 yards from the hole here. And Gary, I think you have to keep this ball short of the hole, and you have to keep it right of the hole.
Yeah, it's an interesting hole location, Roger. I mean, it's just sitting there in the back center of the green, but there's so much going on right around it. Just left of the hole, there's a huge knob that comes down into the green, and just past and to the right of the hole is another ridge that, if you get over that, funnels the ball off the green to the right. So I couldn't agree with you more. Something below the hole, ideally a little right of it.
It's now a 7-iron. Shot plays uphill some, but it is downwind.
Get it done.
Great shot.
This ball starts right of the hole. Good looking shot.
Well, underneath the hole and right on line. How's that? That's perhaps the best iron shot we've seen him hit today.
And that really tightens the noose. Ryan Moore now 168. Has to answer. He's hitting a draw as well at the flagstick.
How about these two shots? Beautifully done by both, although I think Moore will have the more difficult part of it too. It will have a little bit of break to it.
The putting contest at 15. Moore trying to avoid being 3 down with 3 to play here at Winged Foot.
All right, how about Ryan Moore's putt here, Roger?
Certainly the more difficult of the two. Has more break from left to right. I think they both move to the right, but has more break than the putt of List.
Just to put the pressure on.
Yes, sir. Little stroke there. Very nice.
Okay. Just the third birdie of the day.
Nice job, bud. Way to step up.
Ryan Moore, we heard those encouraging words from his caddy, Kirk Brown, his roommate at UNLV. Nice job. A step up.
First real reaction today from Ryan Moore, and good reason. That was a big putt.
Well, like I said, this was the easier of the two putts.
Just got a little harder, didn't it, Rob?
My, how
just
things
got a
can
lot
change.
harder.
That's right. Luke List made a nice birdie putt on this hole in the morning 18. And it was also from down below the hole, so Roger should have a pretty good idea about the line.
Yeah, should move a little bit to his right. I think he's got to get it just a little bit off the cup on the left-hand side.
Ran out of speed.
And guess who was watching that one?
Yeah. Just ran out of speed. A little firmer on that line. He makes it.
What up?
Moore, who never watches his opponent, watching the stroke of Luke List.
This is getting interesting now, Terry, because they've got a stretch of 3 consecutive par 4 holes that are extremely difficult. Long, tough holes. Par potentially could win any one of them.
List 1 up, heading to 16 here in the second 18 holes of the day. Taking a peek, wasn't he? Move on to 16.
Well, as I mentioned, it begins a stretch of 3 long, difficult par 4s. It's 467 yards, a dog leg to the left. Left trees, no good. Right rough, you got a chance to play from there. Hole bends to the left, long iron second shot. Got to avoid this bunker about 12 yards short of the green. And how about the huge maple tree that guards the front left portion, hangs out even over the left-hand side of the green. Hole location today at 16 is in the back right, about 3 or 4 paces over a ridge. Putting a surface, so not going to be easy to get the ball close on a second shot, but as I mentioned, playing back into the wind, extremely difficult, and par will be a very good score.
And you talked about the different character of every different hole here at Winged Foot. Certainly the greens also with their own characters.
Well, there's a quote from Tillinghast that I absolutely love. He says, you know, the holes are a lot like men, all rather similar from foot to neck, but with the greens showing the same varying characteristics as the human face.
Here's more.
Good tee shot here. Right down the center of the fairway. About as solid as he's hit it all day.
I was going to say, you could just see the confidence in that swing. Certainly one of the more aggressive swings that we've seen him make all day long.
He's come back before. He was 3 down with 5 to play in the 3rd round against Aaron Price, and he won that match 1 up. Right now just 1 down here at 16.
Luke List going with that trusty 3-wood, but on a hole of this length back into the wind, he's going to give up some yardage.
This ball turning right to left, going down the very left-hand side of the fairway. If it skirts past the left side, it'll be good.
Well, Roger, it did. It kicked straight ahead. It's going to be in the intermediate cut of rough, I believe. But
what about that tree in front of
it? Well, with the hole cut in the back right portion of the green, Terry, it may be a little bit of an issue. But the good news is Luke List plays most of his shots from right to left anyway. So it might be a visual, but I don't think it'll interfere with the shot too much. We'll see.
16, 17, and 18 here at Winged Foot ahead for Luke List. 1 up over Ryan Moore. Players in play at 16 through 33 holes here in the championship match. Luke List with the 1-up lead over Ryan Moore. Momentum certainly on the side of Moore, but he is still one down here as they are playing the par 4 16th, and players getting ready to play their second shots. Gary Gannon along with Gary Koch, David B. Fay from the USGA, and Roger Maltby out walking the course today.
Everybody, let's go back with them, please. Thank you. Just trying to get the gallery cleared out here, just off the edge of the fairway. The intermediate kind of rough really has a very good angle over the back right portion of the green, shot of 197 yards. And time to get the ball on the green.
Yeah, this is getting critical now, Roger. You can't be handing something to Ryan Moore. You got to make him earn it. And this back right hole location, as we talked about, is not one that's very easy to get close to. In fact, this is an area of the green that in the restoration that's gone on in the last couple of years was actually expanded back in that back right corner to allow for this hole location.
Right now, if you could get this ball into the center of the green, it would be a very successful shot. You know, and force your opponent, force Moore to hit the great shots. Make him have to squeeze it back into those back hole locations and stuff like that, you know. Just put your ball where you can see it and he can see it.
Been hard-earned respect for Luke List this week, who came in unheralded, and still to this point I think the feeling on the golf course is that Moore is still in one way or another in command, even though he's one down, or at least has the momentum, but no one's in command of that cell phone.
No cell phones, please.
Distracting, obviously, especially when you're just about over the ball.
So Roger will put his cell phone away and play on.
Well, there's the culprit. Sorry, but you're caught.
Yeah, shame that is discourteous as can be. Try to regroup. Again, 197. Wind against. Hole back right.
Just try to hit something about 190 yards, Roger, as you said, in toward the center of the green. Imagine just a good 5-iron.
Yes, 5-iron. He's got it going to the center of the green very, very high. Get up.
All right. I'm sure he'd like it a little closer, but I don't think he should have a lot of trouble two-putting from there.
It's more no, he can't make a mistake.
That's right. And it also makes Moore make a decision. Do I play somewhat conservatively and also go to the center of the green, or do I attack?
Just from 190. So 5-iron as well.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Starting at the center of the green, cut it a little bit, still left to the whole center.
Just get to the top of the ridge. Will it come back a little bit? Yes, it does. Yeah, still filtering back away from the hole. Inside of Luke List.
Similar length, though, for both these players here at 16. Full day of golf on ESPN2. Don't forget, when we are done, got coverage of the LPGA Wendy's Championship for Children from the Tartan Fields Golf Club in Dublin, Ohio. 5 Eastern, really right after we're done. We may run a little long, we'll see. Wendy's Championship for Children right here on ESPN2. So a couple of holes after this one left to be played here in the 104th U.S. Amateur. Two players trying to add their name to a lengthy list of some of the greats this game has ever produced. Really the event and the championship that has helped launch many of the top names' careers throughout the years.
Well, certainly if you're an amateur player, this is the championship that you would like to win, and you're right. I mean, you look at the names, Mickelson, Tiger Woods, even going as far back as Arnold Palmer.
I was going to say,
50 years ago.
Tiger winning 3 of them in the 90s is one thing, but you go back to 1954 when Arnold Palmer won, and he still talks about that as being maybe his most important win because it launched his career. And this week, he was the honorary chairman here.
Proved, as he says, to himself that he was good enough to go on and play professional golf.
Right.
Colleague that you work with at ABC a lot, Hal Sutton, former U.S. amateur champion that launched a very successful professional career. So
Steve Melnick, who worked with us throughout the week, won the U.S. amateur in '69 and then the British amateur in '71.
Yep. Yeah.
That's something they can never take away.
it seems as though the gallery is getting larger and larger as the afternoon wears on. And again, we've talked about the unique aspect of this U.S. amateur, how the gallery allowed up around the greens, walking down the fairways with the players, and the intimate feeling that they have with the action.
This first putt now of Luke List, uphill, up over a ridge. I think the shoulder coming into the green from the right side will affect it to the left. I think in the area of the cup, it may straighten up. Try to go back a little bit to the right, last point.
Gee, what a surprise, Roger. Another double-breaking putt. Huh? It seems like anytime you get more than about 15 or 20 feet, there's a good look at the ridge that Roger was talking about coming in from the right side of the green. Seems like anytime you get more than 15, 20 feet from the hole, chances are here that you're going to have at least 2 breaks, and sometimes even more than that.
Luke List has gone to 18 holes only once this week in match play. That was yesterday when he went 1 extra hole with Chris Nallin, but he's never trailed in this championship match. The last time that this match was square was back on the 6th hole.
This putt just inside of 40 feet, uphill overall.
Get her done. Get it. Get it. Get it.
How's it going to come back around? Well, it's trying, but oh man, it's that very nervous length there. Wow.
Could hear them say, hit it. As soon as it left the putter.
You go one.
Well, that's the length that got us into television, isn't it, Kerry?
Roger, how right you are, partner.
Maybe not so bad when you're their age.
Well, in the situation right now, I guarantee you he wishes it was about 3 feet closer to the hole. How about that?
Well, now this putt for Ryan Moore, really not much closer. Uphill putt overall, and won't be as influenced from right to left by that shoulder coming off the right side of the green. As a matter of fact, I don't know if we move left at all initially. It certainly will be going right when it gets in the area of the cup.
Roger, by our picture here, that shadow really encompassing much of the green. Is it difficult to kind of see up through there?
Well, I don't think it's too bad if you're almost all in shadow. Then it doesn't bother me so much. It's when you're mostly in sun and then the holes in the shadow for the last third of the putt or so that I think is really tough.
His father.
Mike Moore, father and coach, not the filmmaker, by the way.
Little different look.
And different putts here for these 2 players now, Roger.
This is a nasty little putt here.
That is his mother, Roxanne, who is the calm, laid-back one of the.
She doesn't look that calm right now.
Well, calm on the outside. Roger, what would you call this? 5 feet or so?
Not quite that. I would say more in the area of 4 feet. But a putt that, you need to strike squarely, keep it inside the left, and have a little pace on it, I think.
I think he felt like he hit a pretty good putt there. He just got it off the hole. Well, we talked about it, didn't we, Terry? This difficult finishing 3 holes of par 4s. Again, puts it pretty much where he's trying to. Just on the left edge of the hole. Probably needed to keep it inside.
And also, Gary, you made the point earlier in the day. He's left himself that tight putt for par throughout the entire day, and for much of it, he's made it. But you can't keep doing that at Wingfoot.
No, and the longer the match goes, the tougher they get as well.
So, great opportunity for Moore to square the match.
Just nice solid putt. Trust your stroke. Keep your head down. Listen for it to go in.
Just like that. Match last square
Mr.
on
Moore,
the 6th
4,
hole, but
Mr.
it is
List,
back
5.
to all square
Match
now.
is all square.
Through 34 holes, Ryan Moore has come back, and List going to be a little bit anxious as they walk to the next tee. 16 green over to the tee at 17, Gary.
And it's another demanding par 4, Terry. 449 yards. The evergreen tree you see there on the right-hand side blocks the landing area. Fairway tilts from left to right. Avoid the fairway bunkers. Avoid the trees on the right at all costs. If you can drive it in the fairway that's 26 yards wide, you're left with another middle iron shot to a long, narrow green with today's hole location all the way in the back center. And again, I know I'm a little redundant, but over the stretch of closing par 4 holes, 4 is a good score.
Back to yesterday's round for Luke List, and this was the hole in which he won the, it was the first hole of the playoff, the 19th hole against Chris Nallen, and hit 3-wood and then an 8-iron to within about 2 feet for the birdie. But it's Ryan Moore who's up first, having won the last hole, and now all square with List.
Once again going with driver. Now, again, in the morning round, this little cut shot, which I'm sure he will try to play here, was the shot that was bothering him a little bit. He was having trouble holding the club face open through the ball. He had a tendency to hit some pulls. Let's see what he can do here. Awfully good.
Yeah, that was a good swing. Right down the right center of the fairway, Gary. Shaped a little left to right. Very nice.
All right, let's see what Luke List does. Again, he's been shying away from the driver on some of these long par 4s, going with the 3-wood. Obviously because he's more confident with it, but because of it, it leaves him some longer second shots.
Drove it way right here this morning.
Yeah, and he's going driver here, Roger. It's left. Too far left.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, clips a tree, comes down in the rough. See what he's got left.
So Moore with a couple of wins in a row here, got it back to all square and has the advantage at 17. Ryan Moore trying to win the championship against Luke List. We are all square here in the championship match of the 104th U.S. Amateur. Ryan Moore and Luke List. Moore has won the last couple of holes, and players have hit their tee shots here at 17. And no doubt about it. I mean, Moore has just hung in there all day, Gary. It's been a battle for him because List has been in command throughout the day, but not right now.
Well, you know, we talked a lot about it. Ryan Moore obviously did not have his best game throughout the morning 18 holes, but kind of hung in there. I would say the same even as he started the afternoon round. But as this match has gone on, we're seeing Ryan Moore hit more fairways. We're seeing Ryan Moore hit more greens. In the last couple of holes, we've seen Ryan Moore make a couple of clutch putts. So you almost get the sense that the cream is kind of rising to the top here, that the man with all the match play experience, with all the confidence, is poised to make the final move here and win this match.
It wasn't just by gutting through it, though. He made some changes at the halfway point,
it was
too,
interesting.
which was pretty impressive.
Yeah, we talked about that. In the morning match, he had a number of iron shots that he tried to play left to right. Was hitting some pulls and very poor iron shots. And and lost some holes because of it, and obviously made a little change in the break between the morning and afternoon rounds. And we've seen him hit a lot more right to left shots with the irons, and it's paid off.
Roger List first to play.
He is 187 yards to the hole. Has tree problems from the angle he's playing from. There's a tree ahead of him that will block his path, which means I think he's going to have to throw it out to the right and try to draw it. Now, he's got kind of a hairy lie. He doesn't have a particularly bad lie, but it's a fuzzy lie. I think it may be very hard to hook it. He's got to aim at the right bunker and try to turn it back in.
Never an easy thing to do, because if you're trying to turn that club face down, if the grass happens to catch it at all, it's very easy to have that ball come out low and left. Going with a very lofted club here, Roger.
Well, he went up across the very right side of it and is drawing it at the very right edge of the green.
Say from where he was, not all bad.
Pretty doggone good, really.
Yeah, in the intermediate cut of rough, but should not be a huge problem.
Took half the rough with him on his club. Well, we have a moment. A reminder, it's the MetLife Blimp Snoopy 1 that has teamed up with ESPN2 here to provide aerial coverage of today's action. The Snoopy image, by the way, at the nose of the blimp, measuring a grand 28 feet tall. Look for Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2 at future sporting events throughout the year. Here's more.
It's now from 178 yards. Trying to play a really six, hang on. He started at left, the hole really not cutting. Left center of the green.
Well, there's a slope there, though, Roger, that should funnel the ball toward the hole.
Been amazing to watch. He has not led in the championship match, and he could take control and lead for the first time here at 17. Take you back. This was early on at 11, the second shot for List.
From the morning 18, his second shot with a short iron at the short par 4. Beautifully played.
He was one up at that point, so the birdie opportunity at 11 would put him 2 up. There it is. He would finish the morning 18, by the way, 3 up, and then win the first hole of the second 18, lose the second hole. This is the 23rd hole. Really an important putt for birdie to have the hole for Moore.
Well, a nice 2-putt birdie there for List, and Moore makes the 12-footer right on top of him, and that to stay 3 down.
So within range, and on the tee in the 29th hole, 11. Here's, remember this tee shot. Well left.
Well, just trying to take a 2-iron and put the ball somewhere down the fairway in play. A very poor shot, out of bounds to the left, and basically just gave the hole to Ryan Moore.
30th hole, though, from the bunker, and the deep bunker here.
Well, this was a great recovery shot after a poor 9-iron put him into that position, and managed to have the hole there to stay 1 up.
31st hole, then the birdie putt for List.
Here at 13, the long par 3, and boy, this was the best stroke he made all day.
2 up at that point. And a determined look, as you noted, as he left the green there, and then trying to stay there on the next hole, but from the deep rough. Watch this shot.
Just a beautifully executed flop shot out of the deep rough. Trundles the ball down right by the hole. He would go on to make that putt, have the hole to stay 2 up.
I had the feeling all day, though, that Moore, as you said, it would make a charge. And this for birdie to get it to 1 down.
Uphill putt moving to the right, and he pours this one in with some real speed, and really the first emotion we had seen from Moore all day.
And at the last hole, List to stay 1 up. This a par putt just along the left side. So that's what we are. We are all square here in the championship match. Nearing the end of a very long day, but maybe not near the end. They could go extra holes. Certainly advantage Moore now as List gets set to play.
Landing on a down slope, back up and moving right.
Yeah, gotta go. It's not going to get up the slope. That could continue to trickle back down. There's a lot of slope in that area of the green. This ball may come all the way off the green. You know, that's the difficulty of wing foot. You talk about the length, you talk about the approach shots, but you know, that ball, if it's another 6 inches, it's okay. And he's got a 4-footer for par. But some of these hole locations today in this final match, as you would expect, extremely difficult. You must be very, very precise. And that shot was just not there.
It goes back to his tee shot, though. Quite a fine approach from where he was, but that really put him in a bad spot.
And now those awful words, guys. Still away.
Yep.
So he has got to putt, and Mr. Moore now has the luxury of knowing just what he'll have to do with his. If it's not conceded, but I doubt it would be, even if List was to miss this putt. As you say here, there's so much slip around this hole. I think I'd have to watch it.
Yeah, sure. You got to make him at least hit it.
Sure. This putt now uphill should move a little bit to his left. In the area of the cup anyway.
And this has got to be a time where a youngster like this, again, with not quite the experience of a Ryan Moore, your head's got to be spinning. You know, what's happened here? I was 2 up and in control just a couple of holes ago, and now I got a real chance of going 1 down. So OB5 is conceded. And with a chance to just cozy it up there, make par, and first time in the championship match, he will be up.
Been there in this position before. It's an empty feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And, well, you know, I don't know where his dad is, his caddy, but if I were his dad right now, I'd be kind of over there putting my arm around his shoulder saying, come on, let's hang in there. You know, we've still got another hole to play.
This putt of yours now will break to his right, but I can't imagine this is going to get hit too hard.
Ryan Moore on his 3rd straight hole. The lead in the match for the first time. There it is.
3.
Moore is 1 up.
So after a day in which the long shot has led throughout the afternoon here at Winged Foot, for the first time the favorite is in the lead. Ryan Moore 1 up over Luke List as they head to 18.
And we take a look at 18. It's a great finishing hole, 452 yards, a dog leg to the left. Trees down the left-hand side. You want to avoid fairway bunker at about 290. Try to avoid that if at all possible. Hole turns left, and second shot is played slightly uphill to another one of those undulating greens perched up in the air. Don't want to miss this one to the right. It falls off about 10 or 12 feet and probably some of the thickest rough on the entire golf course. You see the hole there cut in the front portion of the green, just about 3 or 4 paces over a false front. And again, 4, a very good score.
35 holes have been played. 1 more to go here at Winged Foot, and Ryan Moore, how he has turned things around. It's amazing to watch.
Terry, it has been, but you have to give him credit. I mean, here's a man who has literally struggled throughout most of this championship match, and yet when it came down to crunch time, he's hit 2 excellent shots at 15, made a good putt for birdie. 2 excellent shots at 16, made an easy 2-putt par. 2 excellent shots at 17, and made another birdie. We were talking, he'd only made 2 birdies in the first 31 or 2 holes of the match. Now it gets down to crunch time, and he's birdied 2 of the last 3.
3 holes in a row.
This ball starts going down the left center of the fairway. Perfect. Beautiful tee shot.
That works.
Just a baby fade there.
Perfect. Very nicely done.
Don't forget, when we're done here at Winged Foot, Wendy's Championship for Children coming up right here on ESPN2, the LPGA Tour. Here's List. Obviously, a critical tee shot.
that trusty 3-wood, the one that he likes to work from right to left.
This is going to be good too. Right down the right center, drawing perfect.
Throughout the day, at a bit of a disadvantage, Gary Koch, because he doesn't have confidence in the driver and has to go to that 3-wood, although he has hit it well throughout the week. Trying to get one here at 18, though. It's Ryan Moore who is one up and trying to close out Luke List. Back at Winged Foot Golf Club here in Mamaroneck, New York. A gorgeous day. The 104th U.S. Amateur Championship coming to a close. Ryan Moore, he has trailed throughout the entire match. 35 holes, but took the lead just a moment ago, and now leading going to 18. The second shot's at 18 coming up. Terry Gannon along with Gary Koch, Roger Maltby. Don't forget, more golf coming your way when we are done. The Wendy's Championship for Children, LPGA Tour up next. But Luke List needing to work some magic now at 18. Coming up to his second shot.
Well, the good news is he plays first, so he has the opportunity to put some pressure on Ryan Moore. Certainly the longer of the 2 second shots, Roger.
Has left himself 172 yards to the hole, Gary. Wind slightly into the player's face. The hole shrouded in shadows now, coming in from the right. Got to go hole hunting here, and not an easy shot. Certainly can't afford to miss right.
Yeah, no time to hold back.
Abs don't cut it now. He's got to win the hole.
Yep. You got to summon everything that you possibly can. And trust your golf swing, picture the shot, and let it go.
Solidly struck, but pulled. It's at the very, very left side of the green. Takes left, no good.
Into the bunker, and well, if you're Ryan Moore, you make sure you don't flirt with that right side in the rough.
And again, I just look at the way he swung the club the last 3 or 4 holes. He has found something, and that's what all great champions do. They figure it out at the end when they need to. And
just 1 sec.
I'd be very, very surprised if we don't see a solid iron shot from Ryan Moore right here.
I'd agree with you there, Gary. He has 158 yards left to the hole, and I can just see this ball going right into the center of the green, about hole high.
That's ideal. That's it, out yardage as it would be. Good job. Throw it. 1 shot.
What he's doing here, Terry. He's taking his time. You know, he's just kind of really making sure that he's certain what he wants to do. A lot of people in this situation would be kind of in a hurry to get it over with. But we don't see Ryan Moore doing that at all.
Hey there, here. Starts at the center of the green and is fitting right at the flagstick.
What did we say about great champions? Very reminiscent of the final shot that Tiger Woods hit a few years ago at Newport Country Club to end up defeating Buddy Marucci.
What an approach for Ryan Moore at 18. As we said throughout the day, the gallery, everyone here waited for him to turn on the magic, and he did the last few holes. Luke List needing a miracle now at 18 from the bunker. Needs basically to hold this bunker shot to even have a chance.
In works, nothing else works.
And Ryan Moore one up through 35 holes throughout the entire day. We kept saying Luke List, 2 up, 3 up, at 1 point 4 up. It's turned around. It comes down to this.
Roger, degree of difficulty?
Given the circumstance?
Yeah. Yeah, got to land the ball on the downslope and just let it feed down to the hole.
It's very quick. Two in the sand. No good.
Good point.
And it will be conceded. So that is it. But give Luke List his due. He did a tremendous job throughout the week pulling off upsets, but Ryan Moore just too tough, and here he wins the U.S. Amateur Public Wings Championship, the NCAA Championship, and now the U.S. Amateur. For Gary Koch, Roger Maltby, I'm Terry Gannon. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Wendy's Championship is up right now.